Hello, I am Dr. Joelry Michael Raj, Assistant Professor, Department of Botany, St. Xavier's College, Autonomous, Palayam Gotai, Tirunelveli.
Pollination and cross pollination. Now, cross pollination happens between two plants that has a different genetic makeup. Now, this is how we can scientifically define the difference between cross pollination and self pollination. Now, cross pollination is performed with the help of agencies. You need some agencies. As I already told you, it may be either abiotic or biotic agencies. It may be ants, bats, birds. Now, these are biotic agencies, and abiotic agencies like wind and water. Now we'll go into the depths of each one. One is the anemophily, where you have the abiotic agent, that is a wind pollinated flowers. This mechanism is called as anemophily. It's a mode of cross pollination or transfer of pollen grains through the agency of wind. Best examples are maize. Now what you see here is maize, coconut, palm, date palm, many grasses, cannabis, all comes under anemophily, cross pollination by wind. Now what are the characteristics or adaptations of a flower for wind pollination? Pollen grains are produced in a very large number, huge number, so that they get transferred by wind and get disseminated. The flowers are colorless, odorless, and nectarless because they don't need a color, they don't need any agent like insects. Now insects get attracted by color, but there is no need of any color for these flowers. So now they are colorless, odorless, and nectarless. Pollen grains are light, small, and winged and dusty. Very important, dry, smooth, and non-sticky and unwettable, so that they get disseminated by wind. Now these are certain adaptations for anemophily. Stigma is hairy and feathery, very important. Now let me show you a picture here. And look at this. Now here you have the ovary. Now this is the female reproductive part, where you have the stigma which is feathery, so that they capture the pollen grains. And you see this is a versatile anther. Okay, versatile anther. Now they disseminate the pollen grains. The pollen grains are very small and unwettable, so that they can be transferred by wind. Now these are special adaptations for anemophily. Another example is the all the members of Asteraceae family, Triadax, Dandelions, etc. And hydrophily, the next important type of pollination, cross pollination, that is transfer of pollen grains by water. Agency is water here. The classical examples are Zostera and Vallisneria. What are the characteristics or adaptations of a flower for water pollination? Flowers are very small and inconspicuous, means very small, not visible, very small. Nectar and odor are absent. Again, it is not needed. Pollen grains are light and unwettable due to the presence of a mucilage cover, so that they float in water. The stigma is long, sticky, but unwettable. Now, stigma is very long, so that they float on the water and pick up the pollen grains that float on the water. Now, the best example is Vallisneria, otherwise called as the ribbon weed. Now, it's actually a dioecious plant where male and female flowers are born in different plants. Now, it's called a dioecious plant. Male flowers are on a separate plant, and female flowers are on a separate. Now, ultimately, it needs an agent for transfer of pollen grains, without which no fertilization can take place. Because it is not a monoecious, it is a dioecious plant. Pistillate flowers have a long, slender stalk. This is having only the pistil or the female reproductive part. A long, slender stalk that arrives on the surface of the water. It comes on the top of the surface of water, so that it picks up the pollen grains. The male flowers born on same male plants float in the water and come close to the female flower. Anthers strike the exposed stigma, and after pollination, stalk undergoes a spiral torsion and fruits are born in the submerged condition. Now it bends. Once fertilization has happened, pollination has occurred. Now it bends inside like a spiral torsion, and then fruits are born in a submerged condition. Now this is in Vallisneria. Okay, Vallisneria. And there's one more example called Thalassia. Now where these anthers float on the water, so they float on the water and the fertilization happens on the surface of the water, it is called epihydrophily. Now if it happens within the water, inside the water, it is called hypohydrophily. Epi means above and hypo means below. Now hypohydrophily example is Thalassia. and epihydrophily example is Vallisneria or the tape grass. Now look at this. This is a picture of Vallisneria where there's a long, slender stigma, the female reproductive parts that can pick up the very long, pick up the pollen grains that float on the water. Now entomophily is another important types of cross pollination where it happens by a biotic agent, that is insects. Insects like moths, butterflies, ants, bees, beetles. In fact, bees are very important agents. So it's specially termed as melitophily. Examples of insect pollinated plants are salvia, so one of very typical examples, Rafflesia, Alsolochia and Sarapochia. Now, what are the characteristics or adaptations of a flower in insect pollination? Now, they are very showy and brightly colored. Most insect pollinated flowers has a landing platform so that the insect comes and sits and pollinates it. The pollen grains are spiny, heavy, and surrounded by yellow, oily, sticky substance called as pollen tube. This is very important. Now, this facilitates the pollen grains to get sticked onto the insect, and this insect transfers the pollen grains from one plant to another. Stigmas are often inserted and sticky. Some flowers provide safe place to the insects for laying. Example, yucca. Now see this. There are certain special flowers which are supporting specific type of insects. Now one example is yucca flower which supports yucca moths. Now look at this. Now this picture shows the pollination by bees, cross pollination by bees, especially termed as melitophily. Now this is another example for entomophily, that is salvia, where it has a special lever mechanism where one of the sterile anther lobe acts as a lever where the bee comes and sits on this lobe, sterile lobe, and like a lever mechanism, this anther lobe does its pollen grains on the backside of the insect. Now this goes into sits on another flower where there is a mature stigma, and the stigma accepts the pollen grains that is being dusted on the back part of the insect or the bee. Now this process called as a turnpipe floral mechanism. Now at the end of this session on pollination, just to kindle some kind of interest in this subject, I would like to play a video. As I already told you, here I would like to stop and explain you. Without these bees or pollinating agents, now there is no diversity. And without this mechanism called the pollination, we don't have any fruits or flowers, and that makes pollination a very significant event in nature. And when we look closer, it is much more interesting, and how it happens is the fascinating part what we are studying in pollination biology.